Hey everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. It is Saturday morning, and boy oh boy, we find Prince Andrew in the middle of another big scandal. This time with a Chinese spy. That's right. Information has come out that a Chinese spy, who the press will not identify by name, has had dealings with Andrew. Of course, they're not going to tell us for what or what's going on because they're claiming, the interests of national security. Apparently, is it MI5 or MI6 had to actually brief the king on what's going on. How embarrassing is that? And it's all speculation what exactly is going on. Now there's an article from the BBC here that does a little bit of a rundown, and then I'm going to give my opinion and flesh this out a little bit more, but we can look to the article to kind of get the gist of the situation. Now it starts out, the headline is, Prince Andrew has said he has, quote, ceased all contact with a businessman accused of being a Chinese spy after receiving advice from the government. Where have we heard before that Andrew's come out with a mea culpa and then said, but I told him no more contact, can't have any more contact with you. And then we find out indeed there was. The guy on the island, that's right. Andrew's other friend. Now, the article says, goes on to state that in a statement, his office said Prince Andrew had met the man, quote, through official channels, unquote. And there was, quote, nothing of a sensitive nature ever discussed. Scroll down. The alleged spy, known only as H6, was described in court as having formed an, quote, unusual degree of trust with the Duke and has since been banned from the UK following a judgment by the UK's semi-secret National Security Court. So this is serious. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper said the government would, quote, always stand ready to take action on any kind of challenge or threat to UK national security. In 2023, H6 brought an appeal against his initial ban, but the decision has been upheld by the court. Judges were told the businessman was attempting to leverage Prince Andrew's influence. Again, where have we seen that before? Now, it goes on, the Duke's office said he was unable to comment further on matters relating to national security. His statement did not specify when he ceased contact with the man, nor the duration of the communications. So there you go. It's anything with Andrew, it's always sketchy. We know this. Now, Buckingham Palace declined to comment, saying they do not act for the prince, who is not a working royal. And then it goes on, analysis questions over Prince Andrew's judgment and finances raised again. China's embassy in the UK has denied the espionage claim, saying some individuals in the UK are always eager to fabricate baseless spy stories targeting China. Their purpose is to smear China and disrupt normal exchanges between Chinese and British personnel. Now, the former Home Secretary Suella Braverman banned H6 from the UK in March 2023. He then brought his case up to the Special Immigration Appeals Commission, a court set up to consider appeals against decisions to ban or remove someone from the country on national security or related grounds. Now, in the published ruling, the judges upheld Braverman's decision. But now, the fact that a supposed spy could get close to Andrew, not unusual. And I mean, this is what they'll do. when they come in, when they're trying to get information or peddle influence, they do target certain individuals for their ability to be able to capture them, perhaps, or to use them. Of course, that's how it works. In a letter found on one of H6's devices, he was told by Dominic Hampshire, an advisor to Prince Andrew, quote, "Outside of the prince's closest internal confidence, you sit at the very top of a tree that many, many people would like to be on." Now, that statement shows that Andrew and this H6 had a pretty close relationship. Which you gotta know means if there was something shady going on, and Andrew would have been paid off somehow, some way for something. Because we know Andrew and his wife Sarah, they do nothing unless they get a payout. It's the way it's always been. I mean, we know all the stories about Andrew's dealings when he was the UK special business envoy, and they had him going all around the world and business meetings, and we know all about the shady sheiks and the business dealings and the corruption and the kind of money that Andrew grafted over the years. We know a lot of his shady dealings seem to be around real estate. If you look at the Sunninghill Farm, which the Queen gave to them as a wedding present, when they separated, Sunninghill Farm went up for sale. Well, it sat vacant for something like 6 years. Even with the price reduced, nobody wanted it. It was a real stinker of a property. You know, big, sprawling, ugly. They used to nickname it South York, like South Fork in the show Dallas, because it was big, preposterously big and ostentatious and just, you know, so Sarah and Andrew. But yeah, with that, what happened was Andrew got bailed out from some Saudi sheik who paid over $6 million over the asking price of that. Unbelievable. So he got $6 million more for it than it was worth. And then the guy who bought it, he bulldozed it. Can you imagine? And everybody thinks that behind that deal that something shady went on, you know. So there's that. Another shady deal. Lots of we know there's probably so much we don't know, but we do know a fair bit about his real estate dealings, and they're all shady. Do you remember they had that skiing chalet in Verbier, Switzerland, and it was worth something like 18 million. And this was coming out when Andrew had to pay off Virginia Dufresne, and we found out it was the Queen that put up the money, the 12 million, right? And we're saying, how does he have an 18 million chalet if he can't pay this, and what's going on? Well, the story with the chalet, when they originally bought it, they bought it from this woman. I think she's French, not 100% sure. Anyway, through dealings with somebody else, there was a go-between, of course, with Andrew always, that operated on his behalf with the purchase of this chalet. He never paid the full amount. He only paid something like $4-6 million down, right? And it was going to be a case of where he would pay the rest over a period of time, right? But in the meantime, him and Sarah used it all the time. The kids used it all the time. Big, splashy. Have you seen pictures? It's an amazing chalet. Well, come to find out here, just a couple of years ago, she got a little upset. And she kind of went after Andrew a few years ago and said, I want the rest of my money. Where's the rest? You still owe me something like, $9 million or something. And come to pass, what happened is the lawyers got together and they reached some kind of a settlement. They gave her less than what he owed, but enough for her to, and her comment at the time was, at the time Andrew was involved in this lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre. This was before anything really happened, but word was out, and she said, I didn't know if he was going to be going to court. I didn't know if perhaps he was going to jail, or he's going to have to, at this point, we just knew things were bad. And she said, I thought he might be in a tight spot financially, because this is the way they kind of explain things to her, the go-betweens, the lawyers, that Andrew's in a tough spot here. And she thought, she said, I felt a little sympathetic towards the guy, and I didn't want to add any more pressure to the situation, so I just took less than I wanted, less than they owed me, less than the contract stated, because she said, I felt sorry for him and I just wanted to get this done and be done. And then afterwards she finds out that there's no issue with anything. He's not, starving for money. He's not in. She was really mad. She felt she'd been hoodwinked over that one. So that's real estate number 2. Now look at the situation. We know that him and Sarah have been living in Royal Lodge for 20 years. Even though they're divorced, they've always lived under the same roof, with the exception of about 6 months right after they separated. And I believe there's reasons for that. But, so there they are in Royal Lodge. We know that the king for over a year has been wanting to get them out and move Andrew into Frogmore Cottage, because Royal Lodge needs upkeep, there's things of renovations, whatever that needs to be done. And like what I have stated in the past, is that I think, Royal Lodge had been the home of the Queen Mother, at one time, who Charles really adored. And so he had spent a lot of time in Royal Lodge, his fond memories of Royal Lodge. And what he wants, because he knows that William's moving in and his time is short, and he wants to make sure that, because there's no love lost between William and Camilla, so Charles wants to make sure that Camilla has a safe place on a secure grounds of Windsor, where there's going to be built-in security for a place for her to reside, perhaps after his passing, right? So he wants to save Royal, and there's lots of work that needs to be done. So this is why he wants to get Andrew out. And here, just last month, we thought Charles had him by the short and curlies, because he said, well, okay, so you've got the lease, and you this, that, and the other, and you've been paying the rent on that, which is, what he's paying is just, it's ridiculous. Let's call it the family rate, right? 30 room, 99 acre estate Anyway, so then Charles counters and he says, well, there's all this upkeep that needs to be done, and you don't have the money for it. You don't, because Charles pulled his private security, so that's something that Andrew might have to pay up on his own, right? Previously, and he says you don't have the 3 million or whatever that it's going to cost upkeep. And we all thought, oh well, there you go. Wow, turns out just in the nick of time, Andrew comes up with the $3 million from some shady donor in the background. Where he got the money, nobody knows, and everybody's still trying to find out. And then lo and behold, this story about a Chinese spy peddling influence to Andrew surfaces. And now the government and the palace is embroiled in this huge controversy, trying to find out what he knew, what secrets he may have given away, what the dealings were. Was there any money exchanging hands? Not a good look, Andrew. Not a good look. You say Prince Andrew, and scandal follows. I mean, that's the only word that fits. Here we go again. I tell you, that royal family is the gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas, everybody. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I want to know what you think about all of this. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.